And more violence in New York City due to the out-of-control border crisis, with tensions running high at makeshift migrant shelters. One fight even took a deadly turn over the weekend. The New York Post describing those migrant tent cities as helter shelter.
Safety concerns tonight for migrants after a man was stabbed to death at the migrant shelter on Randall's Island, and 2 other migrants were arrested in a separate incident.
Migrants are rushing to reapply for their housing as the 60-day deadline set by Mayor Eric Adams approaches.
A demonstration over the ongoing migrant crisis quickly turns violent. Protesters throwing punches, kicking, even choking each other. This chaotic scene unfolded at the doorstep of Gracie Mansion on Manhattan's Upper East Side. The NYPD made several arrests.
Thousands of immigrants to be evacuated from their temporary housing on Tuesday.
Yeah, rain, high winds pushing through New York City, as Max was talking about, forcing hundreds of those families to take shelter inside of a high school, which is now closed to students today. And that has a lot of parents fighting mad.
This migrant crisis stuff is just going insane. Now, before you start getting teary-eyed for New York, I need you to understand. They begged for the migrants to come there. They begged for it, even though they were warned, hey, the migrant crisis is crazy. How are you going to pay for all the migrants? They begged, please, please, please come here. Here are the clips of both the mayor and the governor begging for migrants to come to New York City.
As you know, the Statue of Liberty is inscribed. It says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled young masses yearning to be free, the wretched refuse to a teeming shore." And that statement encapsulates our values. We want people to come here, despite where they came from or despite the circumstances that drove them to this country and to this state. We say you are welcome here. We are welcome with open arms, and we'll work to keep you safe. We'll not only house you, but we'll protect you. And the richness of the culture and the diversity and the food and the restaurants that we know are going to be coming because of these efforts are beyond measure. It's an extraordinary part of our story. And it's woven into the story of New York, and it makes us more vibrant. I'm from Buffalo's. The infusion of refugees from around the world has really made this community a place I grew up, a steel town. A lot of people left because they couldn't find jobs for a long time. It was the refugees from around the world that have made it such an incredibly fascinating community again. Same with New York City, same with Albany, same with Syracuse and Rochester. So our message to the world is, send us your people, send us those who need the cloak of comfort that we can demonstrate as New Yorkers with big hearts and open arms, and we'll provide a safe haven.
Lady Liberty sits in our harbor. New York City is the welcoming mat for the entire globe.
So the city of New York wanted migrants. Texas and Arizona sent them migrants.
The buses keep coming to New York City and Washington, D.C. At first, hundreds, now thousands of migrants arriving in the Northeast after being sent by the governors of Texas and Arizona.
The need has outstripped our capacity to respond to it.
Calling it a humanitarian crisis, D.C.'s mayor has requested the National Guard. New York City's mayor is also asking the federal government for help.
I don't think anything is more anti-American than shipping people on a bus 45-hour trip without any of the basic needs that they have of direction or coordination.
Democrats call the busing a political stunt. Republicans argue it's a last resort as scenes like this unfold at the U.S. southern border. Large groups of migrants crossing, human smugglers cramming 150 people into this 18-wheeler. The Border Patrol says more than 200 dead migrants have been found in just one section of Texas since last October. Nationwide, border apprehensions actually fell 4% from June to July, but overall, this fiscal year has seen the highest number on record.
It was just Texas and Arizona that bore the brunt of all of the chaos and all the problems that come with it. Now the rest of America is understanding exactly what is going on.
So we're all on the same page. New York, we love migrants, we want migrants, we need migrants. Texas and Arizona, we have millions of migrants. We'll send them to you then, since you want the migrants. And now, all hell is broken loose in New York, and they don't want the migrants anymore.
Tonight, the mayor of the largest city in the country saying the migrant crisis is pushing the city to the brink, declaring a state of emergency.
Our right to shelter laws, our social services, and our values are being exploited by others for political gain. New Yorkers are angry. I am angry too.
Mayor Adams saying the city is burning through $1 billion this fiscal year on the problem, leaving no funding for other issues.
If these trends continue, we will be over 100,000 in the year to come. That's far more than the system was ever designed to handle. This is unsustainable.
Now, the mayor of New York City even went further than that. He said that the migrant crisis, because people were coming to New York City en masse, that it was going to destroy New York City.
Let me tell you something, New Yorkers.
The migrant crisis taking on a new tone.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry sheets, give them everything they need, health care. Month after month, I stood up and I said, this is going to come to a neighborhood near you. Well, we're here.
Even the governor was saying, don't come to New York City, you better go somewhere else.
But we have to let the word out that when you come to New York, we're not going to have more hotel rooms. We don't have capacity. So we have to also message properly that we're at our limit. If you're going to leave your country, go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else.
So now it's become so crazy in New York that New York City has decided to pass laws and regulations to close its own border, to stop migrant buses from coming into the city, and even going as far as to sue the bus companies to stop them from bringing migrants into the city. Talk about irony.
Mayor Adams announced today he is suing the bus companies transporting asylum seekers from Texas to New York City and also neighboring towns in New Jersey. The video here from Texas shows asylum seekers getting bracelets with barcodes with New York as the destination. This happening before they get on buses. The mayor is suing 17 charter bus companies in all for $708 million to cover the city's cost of caring for more than 33,000 migrants bussed here from Texas.
Teresa, Natasha, Mayor Eric Adams announcing an executive order just about an hour ago. Let's break it down. It will require three things. First, it will require that charter buses transporting migrants give New York City at least 32 hours advance notice that they are arriving. Two, it will require that these charter buses arrive only between 8:30 a.m. and 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. And three, all buses can only drop off migrants at one designated spot. Mayor Eric Adams says bus companies that fail to do so could face a Class B misdemeanor, possible fines, a lawsuit, and these buses could be impounded.
So let's just call a spade a spade. This is obviously a ban of the migrant buses coming to New York City, wrapped in this whole, we're going to try to make this more orderly. Think about it. There's only a 4-hour time window that buses can arrive. You could be stuck in traffic and miss that 4-hour time window. That's what they're doing. They're trying to prevent the bus from. And matter of fact, if you come at the wrong time, they impound the bus, right? They're even arresting some of the drivers. Well, nobody's dumb. We know what they're trying to do. They're trying to close their border, but still keep the high ground. We want migrants to come into New York City. It's fine. You know, we understand. Nobody is dumb enough to believe that that's not what they're doing. But my question is, why is it good enough for New York to close their border, but not good enough for the country to close their border? It's almost like they're saying, we're okay with the migrants coming into the country and being someone else's problem, but they can't come to New York. Now, I need to switch gears here for 1 second to let you guys understand what's going on. The weather has also helped this migrant crisis explode because in New York for the past 2 years, there has been almost no snowfall. So the migrants who have been making it up there for the past 2 years haven't experienced a winter storm or any real significant snow. Check this out.
It's been 689 days since New York City saw more than an inch of snow in a day. A historic record that could come to an end this weekend, but hold on, not snow fast. That will only happen if the temperature gets cold enough. Here's what we do know. A nor'easter is churning up the East Coast, bringing with it heavy winds and precipitation Saturday into Monday, meteorologists say. Now, depending on where the low pressure system sets up, the city will either see a messy, wintry mix, or we'll finally get a taste of the winter wonderland that we've been missing.
So think about this. Now you got a major winter storm headed to New York City, and you have thousands and thousands of migrants sleeping on the streets and outside in tents. That is a recipe for disaster. So what are you going to do? Well, the good people of New York decided to take all those migrants out of those tents and put them into public schools.
Thousands of immigrants to be evacuated from their temporary housing on Tuesday.
Yeah, rain, high winds pushing through New York City, as Max was talking about, forcing hundreds of those families to take shelter inside of a high school, which is now closed to students today. And that has a lot of parents fighting mad.
So now what you just heard has even got Twitter abuzz. So Libs of TikTok posted the video of the migrants moving into the school, and also that the school is going to be closed because they were going to be in there. And she says that it's disgraceful because they're prioritizing illegal immigrants over Americans. Now, Elon responds, this is what happens when you run out of hotel rooms. Soon, cities will run out of schools to vacate, then they will come for your homes. Now, the big issue with the school thing, too, is that, don't forget, parents rely on the schools as essentially babysitters while they go to work. So if you close the schools and force parents to stay home with their kids, then what are they going to do, right? They have to stay home, too, and miss those days of work. So that's why the parents are upset. They're like, you're making us stay home with our kids when, this is not our issue. This is your issue. But even to that, he says they will come for your homes. Now, later on, Libs of TikTok then blast this. This is a headline from New York. Governor Haley asked residents to house migrant families amid growing shelter crisis. And Elon puts, wow, because it's true. They are asking for, you to essentially, I know the New York City mayor was asking for you to take home a migrant, right? So this shows you how crazy the situation is getting in New York. Now, this also now goes to the new issue that's also happening in the city shelters. So the city shelter system is full to capacity. I think they have too many people in the shelters. So what happens is that when you have thousands of people waiting to get into the shelters and the shelters are full, they do it on a rolling basis. In other words, you can stay in the shelter system for 60 days. Hopefully you can get yourself together and find a place to live. Now, the city also tries to help you find a place to live, but if you don't within those 60 days, they evict you out and then allow new people to come into the shelter and give them that 60 days so they can find housing. But that has now become a problem because now migrants are literally killing each other to stay in the shelters.
From a human crisis in the Middle East to a human crisis in New York City, about 40 families of asylum seekers tomorrow must leave their homes. Their 60 days of living in a hotel at public expense has now expired, and today their kids went to school while the parents started packing up. So where will they go, and how do they pay for all this?
And more violence in New York City due to the out-of-control border crisis, with tensions running high at makeshift migrant shelters. One fight even took a deadly turn over the weekend. The New York Post describing those migrant tent cities as helter shelter, for good reason. Alexis McAdams is live from Randall's Island in New York City. Good morning, Alexis.
Hey, Dana. Yeah, a lot of things unfolded over the weekend with the migrant crisis here in New York City. We can tell you one migrant here on Randall's Island was stabbed at least one time in his torso. He was rushed to a local hospital, but he didn't make it. Take a look on your screen. This is where it all unfolded here on Randall's Island on Saturday night, just after 7 o'clock there, happening right outside of that migrant shelter. And remember, Dana, these were sports fields, right, for kids? Well, they're now home to these massive migrant facilities. You can see there police responding to the area after the guy was reportedly surrounded and attacked. Investigators say he had more than one stab wound, and it was a 27-year-old migrant who was arrested for this fatal stabbing, now charged in connection to this incident. So this came just hours after chaos erupted outside of another migrant center in New York City. Witnesses there say a migrant tried to cut this long line you're looking at, where hundreds were waiting to sign up for temporary housing. They wait there for hours for this. That's when this fight broke out. 2 NYPD officers were injured in the incident, and at least 2 guys faced charges in that case.
Okay, so I don't want to be heartless. I don't want to be heartless. But I want to just be accurate and truthful. The immigration system is destroyed. It's messed up. And I am extremely happy that the liberals in the Northeast are experiencing the fruits of their labor. As you saw earlier in this video, they begged for migrants. They wanted migrants. And it was all great to have an open border policy when you didn't have to pay for it. Now they have to pay for it. That's the issue here. The issue here is they now have to live with the repercussions of this illegal immigration. And I understand people want to say, no, they're legal immigrants. They're legal immigrants. No, they're not. Let's just keep it 100. These are people who are trying to skirt the immigration system. Why? Because the only thing that the Biden administration allows you to do is when you get up to the border, you go and you say, I'm seeking asylum, no matter where you're from in the world, right? And if you say you're seeking asylum, they bring you in, they give you a court date, and you live your life until that court date. And there's something like 3 million court dates now. They don't have enough judges to go through all these court dates. They literally have 3 million people who are requesting asylum. Do you think they're going to get through that in the next couple of years? Some dates have been like 10 years down the road.
The crisis at the southern border is growing every day, and now we are getting a clearer picture of just how long the impact will be felt by some of those on the front lines of that crisis. All this week, we've been showing you video of Eagle Pass, Texas. Thousands of migrants in huddled masses waiting to be processed by Border Patrol agents. According to Border Patrol sources, more than 12,500 migrants illegally crossed into Eagle Pass just earlier this week. It's the highest number of encounters in one day on record. Many of those thousands here to work and live will have to wait years to get their day in court because there just are not enough judges to hear the cases.
Judge Sankoff is the president of the National Association of Immigration Judges. She's served as a judge for 17 years and has never seen the system under this intense strain.
Some days I can see up to 100 different cases just in a morning. I've been a judge in Los Angeles, Colorado, and in New York City, and I've never seen the numbers that we're seeing right now.
Now, for the first time, tracking data shows the immigration court backlog has reached more than 3 million cases. In 2012, there were over 325,000 backlog cases. Across the country, there are just 71 immigration courts and 734 immigration judges that handle this caseload. The states with the largest numbers of pending cases are Florida, Texas, California, and New York.
So tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. I think, number one, these liberal states and cities deserve what they get. I believe send them more migrants, send them as many as possible, because I think at the end of the day, they asked for this. No one is doing this to them because they want to be mean. They literally asked for this, and now they've gotten it. That's what a sanctuary city is. A sanctuary city says, come to us and we will give you sanctuary. Now they're trying to stop the people from coming for the sanctuary that they said they want to give them. They should at least kill the whole sanctuary city nonsense. If they don't want people to come to get sanctuary in those sanctuary cities, then they should just end the whole sanctuary city facade, right? It's a facade. But I think at this particular point in time, this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Now, as always, tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Tell me if you think that I'm being too hard on the city of New York, because I think this is just desserts. And I think that more and more and more migrants should go to New York, and then hopefully the Democrats will realize that, hey, just allowing millions of people to come across the border isn't really a great idea because we can't take care of it. And I also want to hammer home the point that it was all great when it was someone else's problem. But it's horror show. It's a state of emergency. It's immoral when it's their problem. That's the thing that I want people to take from this video. How bad is the hypocrisy in this whole situation? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you in the next one.